Welcome back. This is Jeremy Williams, and you're tuning in to the Survive Scale Soar Podcast, the podcast for the entrepreneur, built by the entrepreneurs. Today is going to be a great show. And before we get started, I'd like to share with you some gratitude with the listeners. I'm grateful today for those downloading and sharing the first episode that launched last week. Your support is felt. Remember, this show is not ad supported, and it is supported by whether or not the content is great. A reminder, if today's episode moves you, makes you think differently, makes you laugh, or may help someone, be sure to share it. Without any further PSAs, let's jump into our show today. I am excited to have a special guest on today's show, Chad Hyams. Chad Hyams, the voice of reason, is a best-selling author, speaker, and coach that focuses on life's maximization. He is known for telling it like it is, with practical and easy to understand examples, to assist his audiences and coaching clients to achieve dreams and desires they've never believed possible. Chad shares the lessons on how to maximize your strengths, create predictable results, and thrive in every facet of life in his best-selling book, Achieve Your Apex. He is also a host of the Win, Make, Give podcast, as well as the 15-Point Plan podcast focused on health, happiness, and increasing energy levels. When Chad is not challenging others to maximize their levels, he can be found challenging himself in the gym or with his wonderful wife. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeremy. What a lovely intro.
Beautiful. We're going to dive into your latest book, best-selling book, by the way, Achieve Your Apex. And before we do, I want to have a conversation with you about the importance of clarity. You've always been someone I've admired for having great clarity. And I know our listeners would gain some great insight from what you can share on this topic. Why is it important for business owners to have clarity, not just in their business, but in their life?
Wow. It's a big question to open the whole thing up with, Jeremy. All right. So
hey, we might as well go deep right at the beginning.
Let's get right to it. All right.
Before we lose the listeners.
No fluffy stuff, no softballs to start it up, right? Let's get right into why is clarity so important. Clarity, look, there are so many things that we have to do every single day. And that's not even counting the things we don't even realize we have to do. That's not counting all the external stimulation that's happening in the world. That's not counting all the people pulling us, attempting to get our focus, driving us one way or another way. And if we don't have clarity, we don't know how to filter. So we don't know how to be able to choose what to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to. So clarity, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your health, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's with your whatever finances, if you don't have clarity, everything out there is an option. And you're never going to get where you want to go when you allow everything to be an option.
Those are all great points. And I talk with a lot of my coaching clients, and one of the things I think that's the biggest struggle is there's so many things to do. And we can get into that pattern of just doing things, yet really never have the clarity of what needs to be done. What do we need to be intentional about? For somebody Jeremy, that's out there maybe struggling with clarity, where do they even start?
Let's just make it real easy for everybody, right? Before we even talk about where to start, let me explain how simple a concept this is, because everybody understands Netflix. All right. I mean, there's nobody out there who doesn't understand Netflix, even if you don't have it. You understand.
By the way, Ozark was great.
Yes, absolutely.
Take it away, though.
Completely agree. No spoilers yet. Ozark season 4, part 1 was excellent. Okay, here's the thing. How many different shows, movies, things are there on Netflix? I don't even know. Thousands. Okay.
Yep.
You have to have clarity of what you like to watch or not watch. Otherwise, you sit there for a half hour going, well, what about this one? What about that one? And you just click and click and click. You get to a point where you say, hey, I don't like these kinds of things. I love these kinds of things. Now, what does Netflix start to do? It starts to realize what you watch, and it starts to say to you, hey, we recommend this. Hey, we recommend this because you most likely enjoy that type of thing. They are giving you clarity as to what to choose out of their massive library of stuff.
So Netflix is giving clarity, but how do we, I think sometimes clarity is like, it's that internal thing, right? How do we internally look and find that clarity in business and life?
We have to know where we're going, right? And that's the only answer. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know You're not clear, obviously, on where you're going, which means you won't have clarity along the journey. Get on a highway, drive somewhere, don't know where you're going. You don't know which off-ramp to choose. You don't know which lane to be in. You don't know when to fill up with gas or when you don't need to fill up with gas yet until the thing's on empty. You don't get it. Yet if you left your house, Jeremy, and you were coming to visit me, you would know. You'd have clarity. I want to go north. I want to stay on this highway. Oh, I'm going to need to fill up gas a few times along the way. So let me figure out where to do that because I have to go this many miles to get there. We all have to have it. And it all starts with having an idea of where you want to go. Now, Jeremy, here's the challenge I find. Too many people want to know where they're going to go way too far in advance. You saying you're going to come visit me, great. Get in the car. You're coming to visit me. You know where you're going right now. You can't tell me that you're going to drive to all 48, states over the net, whatever, and plan that with coming to me. You've got to say, hey, I'm coming to see you. Yes, I might have an ultimate vision that one day I want to drive to all 48, states on the continent. Yet you're in a situation where you've got to have that immediate clarity. Our goals can change. Our end point can always change. The challenge I find people have is that they set their goals too far away and they attempt to have clarity on something that there's no way they're going to get clear on because it is 10, 15 years down the road at least.
Yeah, I think you probably know the way I feel, that 5-year, 10-year, and, people come out and say, set legacy goals. And, I think they're all great. There's nothing harmful necessarily about them. Yet I think it clouds, when we talk about clarity specifically, I think it can cloud what we need to be doing in the short term. Yeah, those things that need to happen. How do I get to Chad's house? For me, it's going to be a long drive.
Yep.
Long plane flight too. But I can be clearer on that than looking that far out. I think that's a great point. We talk a lot about the benefits of clarity. What are the costs of not having clarity?
Going nowhere. It's a simple answer. I mean, again, you read it at the beginning about me, right? I get to the point and I give you those, direct answers. You go nowhere. When you don't have clarity on which way you're going to go one step left, then you're going to go one step right, then you're going to go one step back, then you're going to go one step forward. And here's the thing, you've never moved anywhere. If you have clarity, even if it's wrong clarity, Jeremy, you're going in a direction, at least you can then decide along the way, whoops, I'm going the wrong direction. Let me turn around and go the other direction. When you have no clarity, you're distracted. You're all over the place. You'll say yes to anything and everything because you don't know what you should be saying yes to.
Ooh, saying yes to everything. People, I was having this conversation the other day about being a people pleaser, saying yes to everything. And I think that has something to do with clarity as well, is when we're not clear on the relationships that we have. We could find ourselves saying yes to everything, which is, then again, that's not clarity.
It's not at all. Jeremy, to tie it to the book and stuff that I was working on and I've been researching for so long, one of the things we know about apex predators, not apex in the mountain, but the apex predator, is they sit atop their food chain. And my challenge to your audience would be, do you have clarity on what your food chain looks like? Right. We were walking, my wife and I were walking the other day, not far from my house by the water, and there was an eagle flying around and he was diving down towards the water to get himself something. And a whole bunch of seagulls came and pestered the eagle because he was in their hunting area or whatever. And the eagle flew off and the seagulls chased him for a little while. They weren't going to catch him. They weren't giving him a problem. They just were annoying to him. My wife actually said, why doesn't he just turn around and bite him? Right. He's the apex predator, this bald eagle that's flying around here. And the whole thing is he knows his food chain. The seagull's not in his food chain. He doesn't bother the seagull. He doesn't care about the seagull. The seagull might annoy him. He'll move on. He'll come back. He'll get what he needs when he needs it. He knows his food chain. He knows who to say yes to and who to say no to along the way. Our audience doesn't know that. They don't know their food chain. They think they know their food chain. And then somebody at work asks them for something, or a friend next door asks them for something. Doesn't happen. You have to make sure you're at the top. Who's next on your food chain? Who's next? And make sure that when Jeremy says to me, hey, Chad, are you available to do a podcast episode? I can look at my food chart and say, okay, I'm up here. I'm available. My wife is number 2 on my food chart. It's not going to interfere with her if I do it. Okay. My coaching client. Okay. That's not when they're scheduled. Okay. I got down to Jeremy where he is on the list. And now I'm able to say yes, because I knew what that chart looked like. And I was able to know where my priorities were. So I had clarity, which then gave me the opportunity to say yes to the right things and not to just everything.
That's awesome. I never have thought about clarity in terms of a food chain. I'm glad I'm in that food chain, and hopefully I'm digestible.
You're not the seagull. Don't worry. Everybody's in the food chain. Here's the thing. Everybody's in it. My neighbor across the street, who I don't even know their name, they're in my food chain. Because if they came over and knocked on my door and said, oh my gosh, right, they needed something, or now I got to run through the list and say, do I have the time for it right now? I'm dealing with, no, I've said yes to Jeremy, who's above them on my food chain. So I'm not going to go answer the door if the doorbell's ringing right now and I saw my neighbor walked over. Yet if my other neighbor walked over, who might be above Jeremy on the food chain, I might say, Jeremy, hang on a sec. I got to be right back. Pause the recording and run down there, because maybe I know they have an emergency if they're actually bothering me and coming to the door, and they'd sit above you on the food chain. So everybody is in it. Heck, that person that I don't know yet, they're in my food chain. They're just not that high in my food chain. And I would challenge every one of your audience members to sit down and write out their priority, their food chain from top to bottom. And remember, you are number 1. You are at the top of your own food chain. Stop putting other people ahead of you.
Love that. Love that. Now, Chad, I know you're really big into health and fitness.
Yep.
And before we dive into your best-selling book, Achieve Your Apex, I want to ask you about, how does clarity relate to health and fitness?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, if you don't have clarity in health and fitness, then you eat everything. You drink anything, you eat anything, you have too much of everything, whatever it's going to be. Your workouts are all over the place. You're like, oh, it feels good to do this, so I'm going to do that. Oh, I don't want to do this today. It doesn't matter. If you have clarity on where you want to go and what you're shooting for, you'll know exactly what to do and not do. Right? Both of us here, Jeremy, we have a different health journey that we're both on. Right? My health journey over the last little while is I wanted abs. I've never had them. I turned 50 not too long ago. And I said to myself, I wanted my body fat percentage to be under 10. I wanted a single digit body fat percentage. I was very clear on that. And I wanted to actually find out if I could see my abs. So I had clarity on what that was. I found the coach for me that said, I have the program that will get you abs. His program has been very clear. Action Jackson Fitness, for the plug for him. His program is very clear. Eat this, do this, don't question me. This is the moves you do this morning. It doesn't matter that you don't like to do Bulgarian split squats. You're going to do them because it's part of the workout, whatever that is. You also are on a different health journey. And you had a big health journey that you took on, and you got clarity and said, okay, I want to get there. I'm going to follow this path. Now, here's the thing at the beginning, and you've talked about it many times. You were on like 72-hour fasting. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. 72, 96 hours, right? Long fast.
And I remember saying to you not too long ago when we were just chatting, I said, how are those going? And you said, no, I'm down to the OMAD, that, 1 meal a day thing for the fasting. And even then, not always only that, because you realized, hey, I have clarity on where I want to go. And that might've jump-started me. Yet that's not the thing that's going to get me to my finish line. I have to now change my path. I have to now veer off, or I have to get off this road and get onto another road, to use that highway analogy that we had earlier, and put yourself in. You have the clarity of what your goal is. And it doesn't matter whether the goal is to have abs, or whether the goal is to lose a certain amount of weight, or whether the goal is to run a marathon. You have to have clarity, or you don't know what you're working towards in your health.
Yeah. And the abs part, Chad, I just want to let you know now, and for accountability purposes today, I do too have abs. They're just hidden.
Yes. Everybody has them. We just hide them. I'm working on showing mine off finally, not to the public, just to myself.
All right. Because I was going to say, okay, where's the posters and stuff coming
Not
out?
happening.
All right. Tell me about your best-selling book, Achieve Your Apex, How to Maximize Your Strength, Create Predictable Results, and Thrive in Every Facet of Your Life. What will small business owners get when they pick up this book?
They'll get a solution, right? So here it is. Here's my book. I always keep it close by hand. They're going to get their answers. They're going to get a path to follow. They're going to be given clarity. All they have to do is decide what the goal is. The book's going to help them do everything else. Right. We're going to talk, Jeremy, and you and I have known each other for a long time. I am very, very, very strong on how important scheduling is. I am very strong on knowing what to do with your strengths and your weaknesses. I have strong beliefs on things like affirmations. I have strong feelings on all these other things that are going to, that all small business owners, whatever they're in, heck, all parents. When I wrote the book, when I sat down to write the book, the first thing I was asked by a writer friend of mine who was helping me along the way and kept me going, he said to me, "Who's your ideal reader? We have to know, so we're writing for them." And my ideal reader, Jeremy, always I have thought is that high school graduate or college graduate person about to get into the world before everybody else, right? So it's those lessons we didn't learn in school, we should have learned. Now, that doesn't mean that the 30-year-old and the 40-year-old and the 20-year-old and hell, the 50 and 60-year-old that are still reinventing themselves or still want to get there smoother, faster, stronger, better. The book's definitely for them. That's who is reading the book right now. Yet my goal is ultimately that someone like you reads the book and then takes it to conversation with your kids at the table and says, "Hey, read this," right? Or learn this lesson because the schools aren't teaching it to you right now. That's what they're going to get when they read Achieve Your Apex. And they're going to get real stories. It's not me just making up stuff. I have 20 chapters in the book, and 19 of those chapters come with a story of someone that I knew or someone that I've worked with or someone I've interacted with or someone I've admired or whatever it is, and their journey on that lesson that I'm talking about in that chapter of the book.
Yeah, I've started reading into the book and almost done with it. And what I appreciate about it is the stories. When you can tie it back to somebody that's actually gone through that experience, it just makes the story even more powerful. Yep. And I really appreciate taking that approach. What made you decide to write a book?
Oh gosh, it's been years. It's been in my head.
Well, it's not your first book.
No, it's not my first book. My first book's actually over my shoulder for anybody who's watching on video for this. It's Ketchup Can't Hurt. I'm getting my hand on the right angle. There you go. It's Ketchup Can't Hurt, which I wrote for my daughter years ago. It's a children's book. Also available on Amazon or at ketchupcan'thurt.com. And this book was a little bit of a different undertaking. That one was when you're a parent and you have the young child, you read all those books at night, you read Goodnight Moon, you read, I Love You So Much, or whatever they were all called, that I was just inspired to write one to help people and help kids and have some fun with it. And that's what that project was. This was the business project that over years, it's just become that opportunity for me to say, look, I coach people, I work with people, I help people grow, yet I can't help everybody because one, my schedule doesn't allow it. And two, I don't know everybody. Yet if I could put it in a book, maybe that book gets passed from person to person to person to person. And whether I ever get the chance to interact with these people who read it or not, I know I can make an impact in their world with something that's in that book that'll bring them a lesson that'll help them. That's awesome. What made me sit down and finally say, I got to put it on paper. Because why am I not doing it?
Yeah, we're taking the journey kind of at the same time and paralleling each other. And,
yep.
and I was thinking, man, if Chad could put something out, this guy's so full of wisdom, and at least I think so. No, he's a good guy. So Chad, tell those listening today how they can pick up your best-selling book, Achieve Your Apex.
Their choice. They can go to two locations that are easy to get their hands on it. One, they could just go to Amazon.com. Everything's available on Amazon. We all know that. They go to Amazon.com. They could search for Achieve Your Apex, or they could search for Chad Hyams, or they could just go to achieveyourapex.com or chadhyams.com. And they will end up at my site where they can order the book, exact same price. And I'll sign it when I send you a copy. So if you want a signed copy, go to achieveyouраpex.com. you want to get it quicker and get it overnight, just go to Amazon.com.
Awesome. And Chad, if someone wants to connect with you about your book, speaking engagements, or other services offered, how should they connect with you?
They can do it one of a few ways. So JeremyChadHyams.com, and my last name is spelled Hyams. Easy way to remember it. I don't eat them. I don't like them, yet they're in the spelling of my name. So ChadHyams.com is the easiest way to get to me, find all my services, connect with me through the website. You can find me on Facebook. I'm at Chad Hyams there. You can just email me. Heck, chadhyams@gmail.com. I don't care. I'll give it out to people. It's easy to get a hold of me. If you got questions, you're reading the book and you want clarity on something in there, you're reading the book and you want to give me some feedback to it, come contact me there. You want to learn about me coming to speak, to teach, to train, to coach, whatever it is, check out my website and get all the information there that you can then follow up with me.
Awesome. Well, Chad, thank you for taking time out of your schedule today and being a part of the food chain. Thank you again for your time. It means a lot. And again, if you want to find Chad's book, visit chadhyams.com, or as Chad says, Chad H with yams.com. And you can find out more information about picking up the book, hiring him to come do a speaking engagement with your company, and some of the other services he offers, such as coaching. Again, thank you, Chad.
My pleasure, Jeremy. Continue with the podcast. It's great to see that you have one now. I know that it will continue to soar.
Thank you.